Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the time. Here, I and my friend will present our topic about Indonesia presidential and legislative election system. Introduce yourself. My name is Putri Boru Lumban Gaol, and I will moderator this discussion. The topic of the discussion today is how to be a good moderator. And presenter and Mr. Geri, Mr. Azizul, Mr. Maulana Mu'arif, and Miss Ayu Putri Boru Lumban Gaol. Oke, baiklah. And the phrase will going to presented by Geri. To Geri.
Election in nation. Indonesia is one of the countries that adhere to a democratic system. His system of government is organization from the people by the people and for the people, and democracy in reflected in the pemilu. What is the pemilu? For Indonesian, which has established itself as a democratic country, elections are an embodiment of the essence of democracy. In election, it is possible for people aspiration to run regularly. In the election, too, voter will be able to judge. Election contestant can offer the candidate's vision, mission, and program, so that will know where their country is going. Theoretically, general elections are considered to be the earliest stage of various series of democratic constitutional life. So that elections are the driving force for the mechanism of a democratic political system. Elections are a must for a country that call itself a democracy. Until now, the general election is still considered an important constitutional event because the election involves the people as well who meet certain conditions. Likewise, through general election, the people can express their will against political lines. Elections are a concrete manifestation of procedure democracy. Although democracy is not the same as general elections, general elections are one of the most important aspects of democracy, which must also be held democratically. Therefore, it is common in the countries that call themselves democracies to make election a tradition of elect public official in the legislative and executive fields, both at the center and the regions. General election, which are abbreviated as election, are closely related to political issue and leadership change. Reporting from the official website of the General Election Commission in a democratic country. Elections are one of the main pillars of the process of accomplishing the will of the people. Elections are also a democratic process to choose leader. Based a low number eight of 20 concerning general election for members of the People's Representative Council, Regional Representative Council, and Regional People Representative Council. The definition of general election is described in detail. Election is a means of implementing people's sovereignty, which is carried and directly, publicly, freely, confidently, honestly, and fairly with the unitary state of Indonesia based on Pancasila and the Constitution of Republic Indonesia.
Thank you to Gary. We continue. We continue to the next material. The going to by Maulana Arif.
Okay, I will explain election history. In Indonesia, it is known that the president general election is held every 5 years, but before that, the process was not as regular as the general election in Indonesia. In Pemilu 1955, the election was the first election in the history of Indonesian nation. General elections were held twice. The first on 29 September 1955 to elect member of the DPR, and the second on 15 December 1955 to elect member of the Constituent Assembly. This is in the accordance with law number 7 of 1953. However, unfortunately, the success story of the 1955 general election could not be continued and only became a historical record. The first election did not continue with the second election 5 years later, although in 1958, acting President Sukarno and had appointed the Indonesia Election Committee to that. What followed was a change in the political format with the issue of President Decree on July 5th, 1959. A President Decree to dissolve the Constituent Assembly and restatement of the 1945 Constitution. Next, Pemilu in 1971. Next, Gar. Having vacant for more than 10 years, elections were held again in 1971, precisely during the New Order period. This election was held on July 5, 1971, with the aim of election members of the DPR with a proportional representation system with a flat system. Okay, next. Pemilu in 1977 to 1999. 6 years later, another general election was held on May 2, 1975. 77. This time, the election was held on elects member to the DPR Republik Indonesia, Provinsi DPR and Regency DPRD. This year's election, there were three parties that took part, namely, this is typical policy of the New Order government. Therefore, this election is often known as the New Order election. The winner of the general election is the period always the Goltar part. Instantly, during the New Order period, the principle of Luber election was adopted, which stands for direct, general, free, and secret. Although, seen from the result and implementation producer, the application of the principle deserves to the doublet. Next, Pemilu in 1999. Entering the Reformation era and the fall of the New Order era, another general election was held on June 7, 1999. This election was held to elect members of the DPR, Provincial DPRD, and Regency DPRD. This year election contestants were joined by 48 political parties for various elements. In this Reformation era, the principle of Judul was also developed, which stands for harness and fire. Harness means it must carry out according with the rule, and fire means the is not profession treatment of discrimination against certain participants and voters. Next, Pemilu in 2004. The 2004 election were held on April 5, 2004. This was the first time that the election were actually open to the public. At this time, the participants in the general election are declared elected by the people, including the president and vice president. Election this year were held 3 times, namely on April 5, 2004 to elect the DPR, Professional DPR, and the Regency DPRD. On July 5, 2004 for the first round of president election, and on 20 September 2004 for the second round of president election. The 2004 elections are seen as sign of progress in Indonesia democracy. Next, Pemilu in 2009. This is second election for president and 5 after. Okay. This is second election for president and vice president after the 2004 general election. In this year election, there is a new provision, namely that a pair obtain more than 50% of the total number of votes with less 20% of the votes in each province spread over 50% of the total of votes province in Indonesia declared as the winner in the general election. Salah. Pemilu in 2015, 14. The 2014 election was also held twice, namely on April 9, 2014 election member on the DPR Republic Indonesia, and DPRD. Okay, pemilu in the 2019. 19. This year election is the first time the president election and the election of members of the legislature and held simultaneously. This election will be held simultaneously on April 17, 2019. The president was president first member will be elected. Okay, thank you.
Okay. We continue to next materi, the going to present by Maulana Mu'arif.
Okay, I will explain the election system. The election system is the mechanism for selection decision maker when the society has become too rare for every citizen to be influenced in any decision making that affect that community. An election system is a method by which the votes general in election are translated into the seat won in parliament by parties and candidates. Since the first, the general election in 1955 until the last election in 2014, Indonesia has conducted 11 elections with the two different political experiments, trial and error political. The result was the 8th election in Indonesia used a close proportional system and the open proportional system in order. Okay, voting system. Voting system is the right to vote can only be used on if you are 17 years old or married and have a healthy body and soul. Not crazy. Voting right cannot be responsible for any reason. If they are not able to come to the place of election, then a person is considered a white group. Well put. Okay, election system. System that has two categories of mechanical election, namely where the individual commonly has the right to vote, because their vote in every general election placed for a representative area in the political party you won. While the organized election system is a group of individuals who live in diversity of difference, but unity into one strong until in exercising their right to vote without any intimidation, discrimination, and pressure from any party. Okay, election district development system. An area that has a large number of citizens but has not yet fully experienced equitable development from all sectors of life. With the election of the people, it will be easy to choose a leader clan who support the development of their region so that is in line with development in other regions. And last, nomination system. Namely, the candidate for the leader will be promoted by the support party while informing the special discourse that will be made for the projects of development in the country if elected later. a campaign that is carried out so the public can see, know, understand, explore the background of potential leader and choose potential leader according to their goals. Next. 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 Okay. General election in Indonesia are carried out on the basis of direct, general, free, confidential, honest, and fair participants. Directly is that is the people can directly elect and candidate for a leader who fit their mind and heart without being represented by anyone. General. Only the general election applies to anyone regardless of one gender, occupation, and social status. Free. The election applies to all Indonesian citizens who live in the territory and United States of the Republic Indonesia or who all live abroad. Election can be held in other countries that have previously passed some official approval procedure from the government of the country itself and the ambassadors. The secret of secrets. The secret is the question a leader candidate cannot be told to other people, even to the committee, in order to create an atmosphere that remains safe. Does not trigger a combination of and insult each other just because the different choice. Fire. All votes get a same right and treatment, including protection from threats and from certain parties. And the last, honestly. Election must be carried out honestly and as is without any representation from family, friends, or parents or other intermediates. Okay, thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Maulana Mu'arif. We continue to next material, the going to presenters by myself. The benefit of elections. Election can be used as a place for people to express opinions about about who they desire to cause to lead the country or as a forum to participate in the political process. Election can be as a place for political leaders to gain legitimacy and gain the trust of the people. Election can be as a forum to release strong people's sovereignty and cannot be intimidated by any party and have full right to cause candidate leader according to their wishes without coercion. There are pressure from other and so that there is no abuse of power. Okay, guys, the all of presentation. Thank you for attention. Good morning. Bye bye. Udah, eh.